Imagine a world where milk was delivered to your doorstep. Teenagers hung out at drive-in diners, and the average family had just one television, in black and white. That was 1950s America. Now, fast forward to 2025. We live in smart homes powered by AI, scrolling endlessly through digital worlds that didn't even exist back then. Self-driving cars, video calls across the globe, and voice assistants that know your habits better than your spouse. It's a whole different planet. But it's not just about gadgets and gizmos. The way we work, live, vote, date, raise kids, and even die. It's all transformed. In this video, we're diving into 50 jaw-dropping differences between America in the 1950s and the country we call home in 2025. And trust me, some of these will absolutely blow your mind. Let's get into it. In the 1950s, America was booming with babies. Literally, the baby boom brought a massive surge in births after World War II, filling up new suburbs with nuclear families. Fast forward to 2025, we're in a baby bust. Birth rates are at record lows, and more adults are choosing not to have children or delaying it well into their 30s and 40s. Back then, America's population was just over 150 million. Today, we're pushing 340 million, with a much older average age. In the 50s, the median age was just 30. Now it's closer to 40, and climbing. We're living longer, having fewer kids, and dealing with the ripple effects of an aging population. Race and ethnicity? The 1950s were overwhelmingly white. Over 87% of Americans identified as white and non-Hispanic. In 2025, we're a multiracial, multicultural society with Latinos, Asians, and multiracial individuals making up a huge portion of the population. The U.S. is on track to become a minority-majority nation within a few decades. Immigration has also reshaped the American identity. In the 1950s, most immigrants came from Europe. Today, they're more likely to come from Latin America or Asia, bringing new languages, religions, and traditions into the mainstream. Family structure? Totally different. In 1950, nearly 80% of households were married couples, often with kids and a stay-at-home mom. In 2025, we've got dual-income households, single-parent homes, unmarried couples, and chosen families of all kinds. Gender roles? Way more flexible now. A woman working outside the home in the 50s was unusual. Now it's the norm. And here's something wild. In the 1950s, many Americans never left their hometowns. Today, people relocate for work, study, or adventure. And thanks to the internet, we're more connected globally than ever before. And this is just the start. The next section shows how the entire economy flipped on its head. If you were a working adult in the 1950s, chances are you had a steady factory job, maybe at a local plant or car manufacturer. America was the undisputed industrial powerhouse of the world. Assembly lines were humming, unions were strong, and one income could often support a whole family, a house, and a car. Fast forward to 2025, and that world is barely recognizable. Manufacturing jobs have been automated, outsourced, or digitized. Today, the biggest employers are in tech, healthcare, logistics, and services, and many jobs didn't even exist 20 years ago. Think app developers, drone operators, or AI trainers. The new economy runs on data, not machines. In the 1950s, job loyalty was king. You could spend your whole career at one company and retire with a pension. Now, job hopping is common, the gig economy is booming, and pensions have mostly disappeared. Instead, we have 401ks and no guarantees. Wages also tell a story. In 1955, the minimum wage was $1 per hour, which sounds tiny but went a lot further. Adjusted for inflation, many argue the 1950s middle class had more buying power than many workers today. In 2025, even with higher nominal wages, rising housing costs, debt, and inflation have squeezed many households. And then there's remote work. In the 1950s, your job was always at a physical location. Office, factory, school. You showed up, punched in, punched out. Today, millions work from home, or even from different countries. Thanks to cloud computing and video conferencing, the office is now in your pocket. Let's not forget women in the workforce. In 1950, fewer than 35% of women worked outside the home. Now, it's over 60%, and women lead Fortune 500 companies, start businesses, and dominate higher education. And we haven't even talked about AI yet, which is replacing some jobs and creating others at lightning speed. But let's switch gears. If tech is rewriting the workplace, it's also rewriting our lives. Up next, a world of robots, rockets, and real-time everything. Let's start with this. In 1950, the hottest tech on the market was the black and white television. Only about 9% of homes had one, and people gathered around it like it was magic. Fast forward to 2025, we've got 8K TVs, streaming platforms with thousands of choices, and phones in our pockets that are more powerful than the computers that sent astronauts to the moon. Back then, the biggest innovation was the transistor, which eventually led to computers. Today, we have generative AI that can write essays, generate videos, build websites, and even hold conversations. Tools like ChatGPT and AI assistants are already replacing traditional tasks and changing education, business, and even entertainment. In the 1950s, a smart home meant an electric toaster. In 2025, we've got smart fridges that track your groceries, lights that follow voice commands, and thermostats that learn your habits. Everything's connected. Your phone talks to your car talks to the road, and your watch tracks your heartbeat in real time. Speaking of cars, remember when driving was a rite of passage? Teens in the 1950s dreamed of hot rods and freedom. Today, some teens don't even bother getting licenses. Ride-share apps, electric scooters, and the promise of self-driving cars have changed the game. And let's talk medicine. In the 50s, the polio vaccine was a scientific breakthrough. Today, we're editing genes with CRISPR, using AI to detect cancer, and developing personalized treatments based on your DNA. We've gone from treating symptoms to predicting disease before it starts. Communication? In the 1950s, a long-distance call was a big deal. You had to plan it, pay extra, and talk fast. Now we have free video calls across the planet, instant messages, and real-time translation tools. You can talk to someone in Tokyo while ordering pizza in New York, all without leaving your couch. Technology has completely rewired how we live, think, and connect. But it didn't stop there. It seeped into every part of our culture. Next up, how American life, fashion, and fun have done a total 180. The 1950s were all about routine, roles, and rules. Picture this: dad goes to work, mom stays home, kids play outside until dinner, and everyone watches the same 3 TV channels after 7 p.m. Fast forward to 2025, we're in a world of fluid identities, endless content, and lifestyles that break every old mold. Back in the 50s, the nuclear family was the gold standard. A married couple, 2 or 3 kids, white picket fence. It was the American dream. In 2025, that dream looks different. Families are blended, child-free by choice, same-sex, single-parent, or long-distance. Marriage rates have dropped, divorce is common, and living alone isn't rare. And the way we live? In the 50s, suburban life was everything. Big yards, barbecue grills, and long commutes. Now people want walkable cities, co-living spaces, and remote work freedom. The idea of owning a home in your 20s? Practically fantasy today. Rising prices and student debt mean many rent deep into adulthood. Entertainment, it's unrecognizable. In the 50s, folks tuned in to I Love Lucy or went to the movies once a week. In 2025, we binge whole seasons in a weekend. Streaming services, TikTok, YouTube, there's more content than we can even process. Everyone's a creator now, and algorithms decide what you see. And fashion? The 1950s had strict rules. Men wore suits and ties, women, dresses and heels. Now, anything goes. Streetwear, genderless fashion, recycled fabrics, virtual clothing for avatars, self-expression is the name of the game. Music has also exploded. The 50s gave us rock and roll and Elvis. That was revolutionary. But today we've got thousands of genres, from lo-fi beats to hyperpop, and artists can blow up on social media overnight without a record label. Even the idea of fun has changed. Teen hangouts used to mean drive-ins and diners. In 2025, it might be VR chat rooms, Twitch streams, or hanging out in a digital concert in the metaverse. But here's the twist. While culture has exploded in choice, it's also fragmented us. And the places we live in, those change too, big time. Next up, the rise and fall of suburbs, highways, and how we get from A to B in two completely different worlds. In the 1950s America, cars ruled everything. The country was building the interstate highway system, and cities were redesigned to serve the automobile. Suburbs exploded. Cookie-cutter homes with big lawns popped up across the nation. Driving wasn't just transportation, it was freedom. In 2025, that same car-first mindset is starting to crack. We're dealing with crumbling infrastructure, endless traffic, and a generation that's more interested in walkability and public transit than in owning a car. In fact, many young adults today prefer biking, using ride-share apps, or working from home, skipping the commute altogether. And those sprawling suburbs, they're still here, but they're changing. In the 50s, the suburbs symbolized middle-class success. Now, they often represent housing unaffordability. Skyrocketing real estate prices have pushed younger generations into apartments, city living, or multi-generational homes. Cities themselves have transformed. In the 1950s, downtown areas were mostly 9-to-5 business districts that emptied at night. Now, cities are alive 24/7, driven by tech hubs, nightlife, startups, and culture. Urban revitalization, gentrification, and mixed-use developments are the new normal. And let's not forget how we shop and eat. The 1950s were the golden age of drive-ins, diners, and department stores. People shopped in person, ate local, and dressed up just to go downtown. Today, it's all about click and deliver. E-commerce, food delivery apps, and same-day shipping have redefined convenience. Even the way homes are built is changing. In the 50s, families wanted space and privacy. In 2025, many are looking for efficiency, sustainability, and smart tech. Think solar panels, voice-activated everything, and energy-saving designs. We've gone from sprawl and car culture to compact, tech-savvy, and eco-conscious living. But this evolution isn't just physical, it's deeply political too. Next up, how the government, policies, and power have morphed from Cold War unity to today's polarized battleground. In the 1950s, America had just come out of World War II and entered the Cold War. There was a strong sense of national unity, and both major parties, Democrats and Republicans, largely agreed on the basics: fight communism, grow the economy, and support traditional American values. Now jump to 2025, and it's a whole different ball game. America is more politically divided than it's been in decades. Red versus blue, urban versus rural, progressive versus conservative. the culture wars are front and center, and compromise feels almost impossible. Back then, the government was seen as a force for good. It built highways, sent men to space, and helped millions of veterans buy homes. In 2025, trust in government is near all-time lows. Many Americans see it as dysfunctional, corrupt, or out of touch. That's led to the rise of outsider candidates, conspiracy movements, and a deep skepticism of institutions. And while the 50s had a strong international focus, building NATO, leading the West, fighting communism, modern America has leaned more toward America First politics. There's more isolationism, more tension with global allies, and more focus on domestic battles. One of the biggest changes? Family and personal identity have become political battlegrounds. In 1950, most Americans agreed on what a family looked like. In 2025, laws about parenting, education, gender, and even pronouns are hot-button issues, debated in Congress, classrooms, and on every social feed. Also, the role of the president has evolved. In the 50s, leaders were seen as statesmen. Today, they're social media figures, cultural symbols, and sometimes lightning rods for national division. We've gone from consensus and conformity to chaos and complexity. But that's not all. Politics has shaped our public life and social issues too. Coming up next, civil rights, public trust, religion, and how Americans see each other. In the 1950s America, society was built on clear roles, strong norms, and a shared sense of identity, at least on the surface. But under that neat, black and white image was a country full of inequality, silence, and struggle. Civil rights? Just beginning. In the 50s, segregation was legal in many states, and the fight for racial justice was still heating up. Fast forward to 2025, and America has seen major progress with movements like Black Lives Matter, marriage equality, and expanded protections for LGBTQ+ communities. But the fight isn't over. Systemic racism, hate crimes, and cultural backlash still dominate headlines. Public trust in institutions has also shifted. In the 1950s, people trusted the media, the government, and the church. Today, trust is fractured. Misinformation spreads fast, conspiracy theories go viral, and many Americans live in completely separate reality bubbles. Religion played a major role in the 50s. Churches were packed on Sundays, and faith shaped laws and daily life. In 2025, America is more spiritually diverse and more secular. A growing number of people identify as none when it comes to religion, while others explore new spiritual paths or practice quietly outside of traditional institutions. School and education? In the 1950s, the focus was on discipline, memorization, and patriotism. Today, the education system is digitally connected, politically charged, and often under fire. Debates rage about what kids are taught, who gets to decide, and how to close gaps in achievement. And crime? The 1950s are often remembered as a safer, simpler time, though the reality was more complicated. In 2025, crime is lower in many ways, but fear is higher, fueled by news cycles, social media, and real concerns about safety, drugs, and mental health. The way Americans live in public has changed dramatically, but some of the most urgent shifts are happening in our health and in our environment. Up next, living longer, fighting climate change, and staying healthy in a world that never slows down. In the 1950s, medical miracles were just beginning. The polio vaccine was a game changer, and antibiotics were saving lives. Most people saw doctors only when something went wrong, and life expectancy hovered around 68 years. Now in 2025, Americans are living into their 80s. We've got wearable tech that tracks our vitals, AI that helps detect disease before symptoms show up, and gene editing that could eliminate inherited conditions altogether. But the flip side, healthcare is expensive, overloaded, and unequal, with mental health at the center of a national crisis. In the 50s, smoking was cool, sugar was everywhere, and few people exercised for fun. Today, we're obsessed with wellness, gym culture, plant-based diets, and mental fitness. But even with all the awareness, chronic illness and stress are on the rise, and many Americans are more sedentary than ever. And then there's the planet. In 1950, environmental issues weren't on the radar. Factories polluted freely, cars guzzled gas, and the term climate change didn't even exist. Now, we're facing rising sea levels, extreme weather, and a global push to go green. Renewable energy, electric cars, carbon offsets, all part of everyday conversation in 2025. Even the food we eat has changed. In the 50s, it was meatloaf, Jell-O, and TV dinners. Today, it's organic, lab-grown, or delivered by drone. Health and environment have gone from background concerns to defining issues of modern life. And as we near the end, let's reflect on how the past and present shape our expectations for the future. The 1950s were all about hope and forward momentum. The war was over, the economy was booming, and Americans believed in progress. The future looked like flying cars, robot maids, and vacations on the moon. In 2025, we've got the robots, but we also have climate anxiety, political instability, and non-stop digital overload. Optimism hasn't disappeared, but it's been replaced by something more complicated: resilience. People are adapting, reinventing themselves, and finding new ways to thrive, even when the future feels uncertain. One of the strangest twists? America in 2025 is obsessed with the 1950s. TV shows, fashion, music, diners. There's a nostalgia boom for a time many people never lived through. For some, it's comfort. For others, it's a reminder of when life seemed more normal, even if that's a myth. We've also developed a shorter attention span. In the 50s, culture moved slowly. Trends lasted years. Today, things go viral and vanish in a week. That makes it harder to build shared experiences, but easier to connect with global communities. And yet, there's something deeply American that connects both eras: the constant urge to reinvent. Whether it's space exploration, civil rights, Silicon Valley, or the rise of AI, the country keeps rewriting its story. The 1950s imagined a jetpack future. 2025 is that future, just not the way they pictured it. Up next, we'll wrap this all up with a quick recap you don't want to miss. So, what did we learn? America in the 1950s and America in 2025 are practically two different planets. We've gone from black and white TVS to AI in your pocket, from tight-knit suburbs to global Zoom meetings, from conformity and Cold War fear to complexity, diversity, and digital overload. And while a lot has changed, sometimes for the better, sometimes not, one thing hasn't. America is always reinventing itself. Each era comes with its own hopes, fears, and game-changing breakthroughs. Looking back at these 50 differences isn't just a history lesson. It's a reminder that change is constant, and the future will keep surprising us. What seems normal today might look bizarre in another 75 years. If you made it this far, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives like this, and drop a comment. Which change surprised you the most?